that SWIFT holds an integral part into ledger of ledger systems for banks. Okay, what if I were to tell you um, that Tim Draper holds a big part in that? Today we will talk about that, but as usual, let me hit you with my guy Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Black View Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe I was black or invested. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifested. So we binge on that black or invested. Best believe I was black or invested. Got course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that black or invested. Best believe I was black or invested.
What's going on, guys? What's up, Crypto Warriors? What is up, Black Roo Crew? Here we join you a little bit later today. Got to get more consistent on these times here. Welcome. Yes, today we're going to get into a video, which I have to thank Maximus Crypto for. Oh my God, this video opened so many eyes. I was looking at it today, and honestly, we could probably do like 5 videos on this one like 15-minute video, right? But today we're just going to give you an overview of it, and we're going to go into some things and how it pertains to SWIFT and how it pertains in crypto to crypto in general, right? I know a lot of people have the view that crypto's this fledgling thing. It might not make it. What about regulations? But if we actually kind of just look at what is said and not said in these videos, we come to realize that crypto was always next. It's going to be next. And we have a great opportunity in front of us by investing in it. Okay. So let me go ahead and share the screen here. Entire screen. Audio. Boom. Let's go ahead and look at the chat here. What is up, Jay Share? What is up, E? E's up in here. Shout out to E. He's a moderator in our chat, in our Telegram. Shout out to our Telegram, where people share so much great information, so many wonderful contributors in there. So we got this completely free for now. But yeah. Definitely come over and check out the Telegram. Link should be in the description. So without ado, let's just go directly into this video. I don't know where Maximus got it from, but yeah, he definitely check out on his channel. He goes over some things and how this pertains to quant. That's not necessarily going to be our focus today. We'll touch on it a little bit, but our focus is going to be how it pertains to SWIFT. Okay. So definitely, then it's definitely worth it to go over there and watch his show. It was a show I and Underdog Research was also on. But yeah, we're going to break it down from a different perspective. So be sure to see both perspectives, because I think they're both valid and both very great perspectives to understand, especially if you're an investor in quant or you're an investor in SWIFT. But we're going to kind of break it down from a different perspective today. And of course, we're always going to do it in hyper speed, because you can get through more material that way. It's just how I consume my material. So, hey, that's what we're doing. So let's get into it. Let's play.
Send US proof of concept. We are right at the 10 o'clock top of the hour. So we'll just give it a minute or two for people to join and see a number of participants. So just bear with us. We'll start the event at around 1 or 2 minutes past. Let's give it 30 seconds and then we'll start. Charles D. Simone, Managing Director with SIPMA's Technology and Operations team. And we really appreciate you joining us today.
So one of the things to note from this, okay, and at some point in the beginning, he says that this wasn't supposed to be released to the public or not released to the media. So for whatever reason, we got the video. Let's not worry about it, okay? But keep that in the background of your mind. This is not supposed to be released to the media. one of the things I want to point out here is that the leading banks are there: Citi, Visa, SWIFT, USDC, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, MasterCard. My cousin's there. Little joke because Schwartz is black, means black in German. But little jokey joke there. But yeah, all the major banks are there. Okay, so what does that tell you? Okay, let's continue to play.
For our webinar introducing the Regulated Settlement Network, the RSN. As we start this exciting project, we're very pleased to have this opportunity to meet with you all to share.
Okay, so RSN is Regulated Settlements Network. The best way to just think of it, like the simple, easiest way, is it's a ledger. Okay. Now, this means, like, when you think about quant calls itself the over ledger, now we kind of think of, okay, that's a bigger understanding of quant. If we have a regulated settlements network, you got all of these different ledgers, right, interoperating with each other. Okay. So that's something to think about. So when we talk about these different liquidity pools, all these pools run into each other. So you got the flow of money, the liquidity. So now we got this on a different note and a different level with ledgers and interoperating ledgers. Okay. One bank could be a ledger. One cryptocurrency could be a ledger. Let me go ahead and kill our Telegram for a second. All these different things could be ledgers. Okay. So when you think about a ledger, kind of be fluid in what you're thinking about. It can be a bank. It can be a cryptocurrency and its liquidity. Any liquidity could be a ledger. Okay. So let's continue.
Share its background and goals. Before we start, I would like to remind participants that this event is closed to the media and is only open to market participants.
And there you go.
Will be serving as the project coordinator for the RSN project. Our hope is that the learnings from this project will help drive forward responsible innovation in the capital markets and help the industry broadly understand how ledger-based infrastructure can build more efficient, innovative, and resilient markets and processes. As SIFMA, we have consistently advocated for the integration of ledger-based operating models within the securities regulatory framework. We really
blah 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 blah. I would, at some point, I would want to break down to you guys the history of money and where money came from, how it originated, and all of that. That would give you a deeper kind of understanding of what he's saying. Okay. And he's saying a whole bunch of terms about regulation and all this other stuff, right? But if you understand the history of money, you understand that money is no different from cryptocurrency, is no different from stocks. It's just a liquidity pool, okay? It really doesn't mean anything, especially when you consider, and I know it's hard to say that. What do you mean it doesn't mean anything? It's hard to say that when you realize back in the day, money was backed by gold. Our current money literally really doesn't have any backing other than our faith in the United States government, kind of, basically. Okay. So again, if you could back money on gold, then at some point, then you could back money on anything, right? You could back money with gold. You could back money with oil. You could back money with labor, anything. So all these terms is talking about regulated, this, that, and the other thing. It's all fluff. Okay, to me. Okay, to me. And at some point, I will break down the history of money to you guys. But all of what he said, it's fluff to me. But we can re-say it here.
This opportunity to meet with you all to share its background and goals. Before we start, I would like to remind participants that this event is closed to the media and is only open to market participants. SIFMA will be serving as the project coordinator for the RSN project. Our hope is that the learnings from this project will help drive forward responsible innovation in the capital markets and help the industry broadly understand how ledger-based infrastructure can build more efficient, innovative, and resilient markets and processes. As SIFMA
So again, ledger-based, where it's just a tally or a record, a bank of banks, a ledger of ledgers.
Well, we have consistently advocated for the integration of ledger-based operating models within the securities regulatory framework. We really feel this project highlights the value that they can offer and is a great opportunity for the industry broadly to learn. We've brought together today for this webinar a great group of panelists from the firms which are taking part in the RSN project today. You can see their names on the screen, and they will introduce themselves as they move through the presentation. As you can see, they bring together a broad range of firm types and business models to collaborate on this exploration. The webinar today will cover the background of the RSN, its core concept and design principles, and introduce the structure of the project and some of the use cases we'll be exploring. If you have any questions, please ask them via the Q&A button in the webinar window, and we'll try and leave some time at the end of the session to answer your questions. With that, I will hand over to Artem from Citi to start us off.
Okay, now this is going to be very, very important, this whole outline. Now, one of the things that's the backdrop of this entire thing, and it's not as long as they say here, like questions come up. So like, this is really only like about 15 minutes or something like that total. The backdrop of this is interoperability. The backdrop of this whole entire conversation. So got the ledgers and all the ledgers working together, which is interoperability. But then you also have a backdrop of tokenized assets. Okay. Now that gets into, if you look at the title of our video, what I wanted to name the video, but I couldn't put symbols. What I wanted to say about the second part of what we're going to get into, what I wanted to say for that was cash is less than crypto, which is less than assets. But I had to put it the opposite way, which is assets over crypto over cash. However, and this over is kind of subjective, right? But the biggest thing that cash gives you is a liquidity. The biggest thing that crypto gives you is more kind of liquidity. It's easier to move crypto than it is cash. However, assets are better because, but the thing to take away from that whole equation shows us the importance of Metapath, which is Metapath and tokenization gives assets the liquidity of cash or crypto. In that now you don't have to take the entire asset and give it to someone, or they have to be present to get the asset or something like that. It now gives assets the liquidity of cash. Okay, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if that doesn't make sense. Let me make sure. Let me see who's in here, by the way. We're coming in with the undisclosed videos. You the man. What's up, brother? Living in Central Florida. What's up, G? Okay, so we got a whole bunch. We got a good amount of people in here, a fair amount of people. Keep leaving comments, guys. We'll address the comments at the end here, but understand the hope. This is why, again, Metapath is so powerful in that now you've given assets, not like little pudgy penguins, pegs, right? We've given assets the liquidity of cash. Okay, so that's what makes it powerful in the end, and that's the end game of it. Okay, and definitely check out my brother Underdog Research Channel's videos. He kind of lets you know too that there's a company behind Metapath called Path, right? And I think there's a great reason why they did that. We'll get into that in future episodes, but we're not going to deal with that right now. We'll just address this. Now, the first thing that I want to point out here says the RLN, and also, by the way, like none of these names are like RLN, RSN, Project Agora. We have to do a back look into that and the gematria of that. None of these names are by mistake. All of them are on purpose, right? And there's a certain numerical feel to these, right? But that's for another day. But let's look at this. The RLN concept was formally conceived in early 2021 Since then, central banks and financial institutions across the globe, something else, and experimented with this concept. The presentation is focused on the best path forward to continue experimenting, specifically as it applies to the RSN. So, central banks, this should right now dispel for you that cryptocurrency is this fledgling thing that might not make it. They've been working on this regulated settlement network since early 2021. They've been working on it. They've been working on CBDCs, which they show you here, but something to just kind of follow this up with. Where is it? This is Quant's news release. It says R3 Corda is it's a private blockchain which it uses XDC as its settlement layer, which is why I put XDC in our thumbnail there. So you can think of this as XDC, and Quant selected as technology providers for UK's regulated liability network. So right here, it shows with R3 Corda, XDC is the settlement network, and Quant. They've been playing with this for freaking years. Even though right now they make this announcement April 15th, 2024. They've been playing with this junk for years. They may say one thing, but they do an entirely different thing. Okay. And here we are. Who are the participants? The major banks and major companies in our society, right? Participants in the UK include Barclays, Citi, HSBC, Lloyd's Banking Group, MasterCard, NatWest, Nationwide, Santander, Standard Chartered, Virgin Money, which is Virgin is Richard Branson and, all of his stuff, and Visa. They are being supported by EY and Linklaters and a technology team of R3, Quant, DTC or DXC, technology and co-adjute or something like that. So banks have been working on this for a while. Multiple banks are using this. They're using Quant. They're using XDC. So all this stuff that like Jamie Dimon saying, it's they're saying one thing and they're doing an entirely different thing. Okay. So just want to let you know, because it's not readily in what they're saying, you don't know necessarily that cryptocurrency is involved. Well, here's the press release. Okay. Here's the receipt. So let's go back here. So one of the things they mentioned here is the RLN concept was created, and then the Singapore MAS CBDC presentation. So remember the MAS, right? Remember how that connected to SWIFT, and we're going to take you back and look at it here. So look, New York Fed, which is our central bank, which isn't federal, by the way. It's a private bank that gets into so many other things about money, but we're not going to address that. New York Fed and Monetary Authority of Singapore collaborate to explore potential enhancements to cross-border payments, SWIFT, right, using wholesale CBDCs. And later on, what this kind of morphs into is Project Guardian. They're no longer using the word CBDCs or the phrase or whatever, the acronym. Deutsche Bank selects XLR developer as partner and joining Project Guardian Singapore. Partnering with Interop Labs, Deutsche Bank aims to set standards in blockchain interoperability and token and asset tokenization. So everything that we've been talking about, right? And this connects another cryptocurrency XLR into this. Okay. So although the banks are talking here, they never mention the cryptocurrency specifically. Here are the receipts. Here are the receipts. Okay. So started back here in, when is this? November 11th, 11/11/22. Those numbers, right? So starts all the way back here. Monetary Authority of Singapore, Federal Reserve Bank of New York. They're working together. 2 years later, it comes into Deutsche Bank and XLR working with Project Guardian in Singapore. Okay. And here it is, Monetary Authority of Singapore's Project Guardian, blah, 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 blah. So receipts right there, right? So going back here, that's what I'm saying. And we're only like 3 minutes and 32 seconds through the video. So like all of that, right? And we just mentioned Quant, we just mentioned XDC, we just mentioned XLR. All of this goes into that, right? So when we look at the opportunity in front of us, we should be very excited because it was always proposed to us as though it was anti-bank, against bank. And in some instances, I mean, you can use cryptocurrency for that. But again, a game is being played and presenting it to you in that manner. In actuality, what it is money 2.0. In actuality, it's like the old system creating a very better new system. Okay, so dodge the hijack, if you will. Okay, so yeah, let's hear him explain.
Thanks, Charles, and hello everyone. My name is Artem Korniuk, and I'm part of Citi's business development organization with a focus on digital assets. Before we dive into the details of the project, its scope, its deliverables, we felt it might be useful to start from the beginning, as they say, and talk a little bit about the origination story behind the regulated settlement network and what brought us here today. So if we take one big step back, if you will, the original concept, which you'll hear more about in...
Oh, and by the way, definitely check out my video in which I connect XLR to SWIFT. We don't have to go over that today. I can't remember what I named the video, but definitely go back through the archives and check it out because there is an XLR connection to SWIFT. Definitely go check that out. Like Draper, oh, you look at him, he's in the background of all of this. Like it's insane. But let's continue.
In the next few minutes, goes back to 2021. To a white paper that was initially published by Citi, which really proposed this concept of a global network of regulated liabilities that is programmable, always on, and can span across markets and jurisdictions.
Global network of regulated liabilities that's always on. Sounds like cryptocurrency to me. Let's back up just a little bit there.
Goes back to 2021. To a white paper that was initially published by Citi, which really proposed this concept of a global network of regulated liabilities that is programmable, always on, and can span across markets and jurisdictions.
Global regulated network of liabilities that's programmable, that's always on. Sounds a lot like cryptocurrency to me.
That paper was really meant to serve as a contribution to the global debate on the future of money, and it was actually quite resonant across the industry, piquing interest from policymakers, central banks, and financial institutions, both large and small. So on the slide here, you'll see a general outtake of just a number of projects and events that were either stemmed from or were influenced in one way, shape, or form by that original concept. Let me just highlight a few examples to give you a little bit of color. So in 2022, for instance, in the US, a group of public and private sector institutions came together to partner on an industry POC in exploring the benefits in the general...
Proof of concept, by the way. Industry POC, proof of concept.
Viability of the RLN concept around the digital US dollar. That project considered wholesale use cases involved.
Okay, digital US dollar, right? They're not talking they are. I believe they're talking USDC, but they're not using that. They're not using the terminology. They're not using the name. He is talking USDC, I think, but he's not using the name.
From or were influenced in one way, shape, or form by that original concept. Let me just highlight a few examples to give you a little bit of color. So in 2022, for instance, in the US, a group of public and private sector institutions came together to partner on an industry POC in exploring the benefits and the general viability of the RLN concept around the digital US dollar. That project considered wholesale use cases involving both central bank, commercial bank, and e-money liabilities. In Britain, similar timing, in Britain, the UK Finance, along with a number of its members, came together to explore the same concept, but this time applied to the digital pound, and really looking at it across a variety.
And the digital pound, right? Haven't we covered the digital pound on here, right? Digital Pound Foundation. Who's a part of that foundation? Well, foundation. See where my mind's at. I almost spelled fountain. I'm a little hangry over here. Let's see here. So, Digital Pound Foundation, for people who may not have seen this before. If you've watched Maximus's content, if you've looked at Tokenizer's content on the Twitter or X, you know they've mentioned this a lot. But here it is. Digital Pound. Cancel. Reject all. Here we are. Quant. Ripple. Like, I mean, do you even need to go on? But Quant and Ripple. We just saw Quant with the regulated liabilities network. So Quant is definitely involved. Has Quant moved as much as many other cryptos this bull run yet? No, it has not. But when you see all of this different involvement, right? When his day comes, it's going to come, bro. Like it, like you can't deny the information. The information's here. This is not me saying like my feelings or my beliefs, right? I'm showing you actual information, right? As well as Maximus does, Underdog Research does, Tokenizer does, right? This is actual information in your face. So, yeah, Quant's day is going to come. And like we showed you, I think it was a couple last show or show before last, Revolut, which Tim Draper owns, holds a lot of Quant, okay? And here you saw some other companies we mentioned before. Fireblocks, they have a deal with Sologenic. Who else did we mention? Accenture. They say there's a big collaboration between Accenture and HBAR. There was someone else. Avalanche. Here we go, right? So, again, connecting other cryptocurrencies to the digital pound. So, even though we're just talking, these are just banks talking, just banks, right? Crypto is right and center and front and there, right? Okay.
Variety of potential use cases, including both retail and wholesale. And by the way, just a flag for the group. The second phase of that UK project kicked off just earlier this year, and you can find additional details behind it online. Anyway, so around the same time, this RLN concept was also closely explored and considered by a number of public sector institutions, including the BIS, for example, who published a unified ledger blueprint in 2023, and most recently announced Project Agora, which both of which really closely align with the key principles that we are testing here.
Okay, Project Agora. Let's go look at it. I'm going to have to do some research on what Agora actually means, because there's a cryptocurrency called Algorus. So there's obviously some extra meaning behind the word Agora. I don't know it at the moment, but I'm going to have to do some research on that. Here it is from the BIS. Bank of International Settlements, by the way. Project Algora, central banks and banking sector embark on major project to explore tokenization of cross-border payments. What is it that SWIFT does? It does cross-border payments and it does tokenization through Metapath. Okay, so I'm believing, and more on this a little bit later. I'm believing that SWIFT is going to be very, very integral on commercial bank tokenization. Okay, because the system is actually two-tiered, and I didn't notice until like Underdog pointed this out the last video. Um, he pointed out the whole two-tier of the system. Now you have to think for yourself. Why do you think the system is two-tiered? In that they have a commercial bank tier or ledger, and then they have a central bank ledger. So the central bank ledger, they have a separate internal ledger that's different from the commercial bank ledger. Why that is, I have my own special speculation. I have my own thoughts on that, but it would only be speculation, and I won't mention that today. Let's go ahead here. So they say Agora is Greek for marketplace, but I think there's much more behind it than that. But anyways, so look at the banks we have. Several central banks. Bank of France, representing the Euro system. Bank of Japan, who was the first people that SWIFT went and talked to. Mizuho Bank, right? Bank of Korea, which I think mostly South Korea there. If you're going to go with the whole narrative of North and South Korea, I think it's South Korea. But anyways, and SWIFT has already shown you it has relations to South Korea. It through Metapath, we saw that it does support Clayton. Clayton is one of the biggest projects in South Korea. Bank of Mexico, Swiss National Bank, which Switzerland, that's the home of Davos and the Forum. I think you guys know who I'm talking about when I say the Forum. So Swiss National Bank, Bank of England, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which we just showed you in connection to Monetary Bank of Singapore and XLR, right? So all of the players are there. All of the players that we've interconnected at different points are there with this project Algora, okay? And again, they mentioned down here, the project builds on the unified ledger concept proposed by the BIS, unified ledger over ledger, if you will, and will investigate how tokenized commercial bank deposits can be seamlessly integrated with tokenized wholesale central bank money in a public-private programmable core financial platform. Whole bunch of words, but how we're going to integrate these two ledgers, right? This could enhance the functioning of the monetary system and provide new solutions using smart contracts and programmability while maintaining its two-tier structure. So, yeah, right there. And this is from the BIS. And in the backdrop of this whole thing, remember that the BIS said in 2025, the beginning of 2025, January 1st, crypto reserves can be had by central banks. I know they see it in a weird way here, to set standards on banks' crypto exposure and all of this, but really, come January 1st, 2025, central banks can use 2% of their reserves on cryptocurrency. So to me, what that says is by that time, central banks will recognize cryptocurrency as a commodity. It seems like to me, right? Okay. Some of the laws are already changing. You're already seeing big people, big VCs like BlackRock now have crypto ETFs. So the whole quote unquote regulatory position on cryptocurrency is changing, so to speak, even though we could say it's always kind of been the plan that cryptocurrency is up next. But as far as quote unquote regulation goes, with BlackRock holding it as an ETF, you can holding Bitcoin as an ETF, Ethereum ETFs too soon to be approved, maybe even Solana ETFs. It seems to be that cryptocurrency is a commodity of some sort. Okay. So now thinking of that, understand when they're talking about moving assets, moving tokenized assets, this will include cryptocurrency. Okay. Let me just check in over there and make sure everybody's good. Okay, yeah, be sure to like and also definitely leave a comment once the video is posted. It really helps get it through the algorithm. Okay, but yeah, let's continue on here.
Speaking of the U.S. project, the findings from that project were very positive, and one of the conclusions from the group involved in that initiative was really this need to expand the RLN concept to also test the benefits of adding securities onto the same network. Obviously, looking at it closely to understand.
So adding securities. Now, whether you want to think of cryptocurrency as a security or a commodity, however the heck, right? Some would just say it's technology, right? But whether you want to think of it as a security or a commodity, it'll be on the network. Okay.
The benefits and the considerations or implications is pretty pivotal. So that took the RLN concept beyond just central bank and commercial bank liabilities, beyond the payment space, and hence the regulated settlement network project that we're here to talk to you about today. But more on that in
So he said a lot. What he just said. So it takes it beyond payments and now puts it into the regulated settlement network. So now think commodities, think tokenized assets, think everything. Okay. Anything or everything that can be an asset on the network, tokenized, moving 24/7, instantaneously, for the most part.
In maybe just a second. So just to round this out, in a nutshell, since 2021, this RLN concept has really been actively explored again across the market, various markets, various jurisdictions, and most importantly, in close partnership between the public and the private sector. So that's kind of its common denominator, if you will. The RSN project that you will hear about today is really a continuation of that industry collaboration and really a joint exploration for how to best upgrade or modernize the critical infrastructure that's underpinning our markets. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Rob Morgan from USDF to double click on some of the specific hypotheses and really the additional details behind the phase of this specific project. So Rob, over to you.
Great, thanks so much, Artem. For those who don't know me, Rob Morgan.
So here we are. The RSN US proof of concept intends to test the hypothesis of a shared ledger over ledger, always on, multi-asset tokenization, all assets, network consisting of tokenized, whatever, central bank money, U.S. treasuries, and other regulated. And I guess that's where it is important that the regulation happens. But again, it's going to happen. Look at all of these banks that are. It's not this thing where it's like, oh God, I don't know, Gary Gensler. Oh, I don't know. I really just don't know if it's gonna happen. Like, you got some of the biggest billionaires in this: Tim Draper, others, right? Yatsu, Johannes Rowitz, you name it. Okay, other regulated assets, and those things are going to get regulated and added to this thing. they just are. Okay, so to achieve near real-time DVP settlement for multi-asset transactions, probably. Okay, so yep, here we go.
I'm the CEO of USDF Consortium. We're a group of mid-sized regional community banks working together on tokenization. We're excited to be part of these tests. The goal of
dude's working on tokenization for his bank. All right, come on, guys. It's ludicrous to me that people think like crypto might still not make it, bro. Like how we have dudes talking about this. Like, okay, and again, this wasn't supposed to be released to the public or whatever, but this should really dispel any of those thoughts that like, okay, crypto may not make it. Oh my God. Oh, he might not approve the Ethereum ETF. Oh, I don't know if they'll have Solana ETFs. I really don't know. Like, it should really disprove that for you, right? And I say this kind of sarcastically and facetiously. Anyone who actually thought that at one time, I thought that at one time, right? I believed the news. I believed what people were saying instead of what they were doing. So I'm saying it facetiously now, like sarcastically now, but anyone who might have fell for the fake, so to speak, believe me, I was there too. So I'm saying it facetiously now, but I do empathize and sympathize with people who may have fallen for the fake. Okay, I really do. But now, where we're at now, I think we can just dispel that, right? We can completely dispel that. Other people, maybe they may never do it. They might not never do it, and maybe we might try to help them. Maybe we won't. But for us who are listening right now, I think we can dispel it, right? Let's keep going.
The test, the proof of concept, is to explore the hypothesis that shared ledger technology can improve settlement for traditional banking transactions. To do this, we'll be simulating an always-on multi-asset network. We will be bringing commercial bank money, central bank money, treasuries, and other securities onto the same system of record. We think this has the potential to break down the silos that separate those systems today from a technological perspective. And
okay, so he's saying that there's some silos to those systems today. You guys who don't maybe not know this, but I am a computer engineer. I do programming. And one of the things that always comes up is that when you do testing, you don't want your testing to be siloed. You want to have, you don't want your disciplines to be siloed. You don't want a waterfall type of thing, right? You want everything to be interconnected nicely. You want intercommunication. So in that, we know different cryptocurrencies like XDC, they want to work on trade finance. So now think about all these different things that might be siloed, like the stock market from the trade finance market, the banking debt like DeFi or not DeFi, but CeFi being siloed from trade finance or stock market. Now, all of these networks, all of these different ledgers can now interoperate seamlessly without taking like 7 days to clear. Clearing now happens in seconds, less than seconds in some cases, right? So now all of these markets, now think about that. If you're this old fuddy-duddy that's like, okay, I can't do this, but again, all the biggest banks are here. But just assume that you were somebody who weren't in the know and you were going to stick to the old system because, you just don't believe in this and it's fake and it's whatever, right? You will be obliterated. Like everything that you would do would take 7 days to clear. Any business transaction that you wanted to have would be so much slower, like light years slower than everyone else who now goes to the new system, you will have to change. You will have to change, or you'll be done. You can't. You would have to change, because everyone else will be getting everything cleared almost immediately, and you're just stuck in the old system waiting 2-3 days or 7 days, especially when we're talking about things that are international, right? For things to clear, where other people who are using the new thing are cleared in like seconds or minutes, right? So everything will have to go to this new system, or otherwise you're at an extreme disadvantage, right?
And we want to explore the benefits around reducing risk, allowing for better interoperability and faster transactions. So our hope is that this allows us to leverage the benefits of tokenization while maintaining the same market structure, roles, and regulatory oversight that exists today. This allows us to maintain the same benefits and protections that our two-tier banking system provides, while exploring the adoption of this new technology. Key to this test is a central FMI, or financial market infrastructure.
Okay, and okay, so now this kind of brings it to a little bit of like assets, right? Let's just repeat what he said just a little bit.
Allowing for better interoperability and faster transactions. So our hope is that this allows us to leverage the benefits of tokenization while maintaining the same market structure, roles, and regulatory oversight that exists today. This allows us to maintain the same benefits and protections that our two-tier banking system provides, while exploring the adoption of this new technology. Key to this test is a central FMI, or financial market infrastructure, that can house all of these different assets and liabilities. FMI is sort of a regulated payments network that facilitates that clearing and settlement.
Well, basically, what I wanted to get to there is just like, if you're tokenizing all these different assets, you now give them the same kind of liquidity as money or cryptocurrency. And now this allows you to kind of have even greater flexibility by holding an asset, as opposed to holding something, holding an asset than just holding cash, because the assets actually in real life, the assets are worth more than the cash or the crypto. A house in which you have apple orchards and whatchamacallit is way more than, some paper cash that may not have any value, right? Like, the asset now could feed you, can house you, you can build stuff on it. So yeah, so assets way over cash or crypto, and this will tokenize assets. But that's kind of an aside. But let's go back to just a second.
The adoption of this new technology. Key to this test is a central FMI, or financial market infrastructure, that can house all of these different assets and liabilities. FMI is sort of a regulated payments network that facilitates that clearing and settlement of payments, securities, and other transactions. Through that FMI, we'll be testing a number of different use cases that others will go into more detail in. We'll be testing delivery versus payment transactions for both treasuries and other securities on a single platform, as well as interoperability via an interlinking solution for other networks as a bridge to test both PvP and PvP transactions. So with that, I'll hand it over to Amanda, who will give a little bit more detail on the tests and the construction.
Sure. Thanks, Rob. I'm Amanda Morgan from Visa Money Movement Solutions, and I'm really excited to join my industry colleagues on this wonderful project. I just want to give a bit more context on the intention of this proof of concept.
Now, one of the things that you kind of had to dodge the hijack on this one with is that they say out of scope is cryptocurrency, stablecoins, retail, CBDC, public permissionless blockchains. We just showed you how the BIS is going to allow for central banks to hold crypto in their reserves. So maybe this is out of scope right now, but when central banks are able to hold crypto on their reserves and to hold different tokenized assets like stable coins and non-backed cryptocurrencies on their reserves, then maybe that becomes in scope, right? And then now that can be traded on the network, on the RSN or RLN, if you will. So keep that in mind.
Concept phase and sort of the breadth of the participants we're working with. So what is the proof of concept? Well, the RSN proof of concept builds on the great work that's already been done, as Artem mentioned, and it starts to assess the viability of a permissioned and regulated shared ledger, holding both securities and liabilities for 3 separate settlement use cases. So I'll just outline these here. They are 3 domestic settlement use cases, beginning with 1, our base use case of RSN as an FMI, or financial market infrastructure for security settlement. And then we build on this to explore 2, a security-led delivery versus payment settlement, followed by 3, a tokenized payment versus payment. So the intention is to bring to life and explore the opportunity for regulated shared multi-asset ledger. And at the end of the POC, this group will publish a business, technical, and legal report for each use case. Just one more note on the scope, as it's outlined on the slide. So the RSN initiative remains grounded in the regulated space and seeks to evaluate the potential for technology to enhance settlement of several regulated instruments. We're not evaluating opportunities in the unregulated space or leveraging public and or permissionless infrastructures. In terms of the participants, this industry.
So again, this dodged this hijacked a little bit in that once the crypto is regulated, i.e. maybe 2025, it now becomes in scope. Okay.
This endeavor is only possible because of the commitment and participation from industry-leading public and private organizations. So we're fortunate to have a diverse range of project contributors with SME experience across this POC and the continued involvement of NY Innovation. And
look at these contributors. Shout out to Mainly Music. He's one of the first people to point out the DTCC to me many years ago, or a couple years ago. Like these contributors are just like some really great contributors, guys. Swift, MasterCard, JP Morgan. Again, JP Morgan, there he is. There it is. So they're saying one thing, doing another. Citibank, US Bank, USDF, Visa, Wells Fargo, Zions Bancorp, Bank of NY Mellon, Broadridge, DTCC, ISDA, Mitre, or MITRE, and Tacit. So,
Center as a technical observer. So with that, I'll hand over to John from JP Morgan to share more detail on the use cases, specifically the first one.
Thank you, Amanda. John Schwartz, JP Morgan, and I'll be walking folks through the base use case. So as Artem mentioned, we are leveraging work done previously during the PBB pilot for RLN Phase 1, complementing that use case by incorporating a securities lake into the workflow. Goal here is to achieve near real-time DVP settlement within the FMI. By having both tokenized public and private forms of money and tokenized US regulated securities in the network, it should enhance the market's ability to settle securities transactions with a greater degree of precision, reducing settlement risk, enhancing available liquidity, and reducing operational inefficiencies faced by financial institutions today.
So again, now think of this with crypto being regulated, right? By having both tokenized public and private forms of money. And these are the 2 ledgers, one public, one private, one commercial bank, which is public, and then the private is the central bank form of money. And tokenized U.S. regulated securities in the network that is 24/7 will allow financial institutions the ability to transact and settle at any time. So if you're not on this network, you're going to get blown away by your competition. So then you have to be on this network. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because anyone who can settle business at any time is going to destroy anyone who can't, which I don't really understand how you I don't even think you could be on any other network, because if the DTCC is going to be involved with this, the DTCC is the network. You know what I mean? So, it's just an inevitability, right? There's no stop. If they're involved, that is the network. So Yeah, but this will allow the financial institutions the ability, and this means you have to kind of know what the DTCC is. Definitely do your own research on what the DTCC is. It's just amazing. This will allow financial institutions the ability to realize reduction in settlement risk, have enhanced line of sight to its liquidity, while also reducing operational inefficiencies faced by financial institutions today. So basically, real-time settlement, near real-time settlement, 24 hours, 24/7 liquidity and settlement capabilities, enhanced liquidity visibility for corporate traders, so they'll know what's happening kind of at all times with liquidity, and it's scalable to the entire world. Yeah.
Residing within the FMI are participant partitioned ledgers, warehousing tokenized central bank money, tokenized bank deposits, and in this base use case, tokenized central bank treasuries, the latter originating within the Fed securities partition, which you can think of as a tokenized version of FedWire. There are a number of potential benefits in realizing this type of US Treasury settlement flow. The first benefit is, as I mentioned, near real-time settlement. In this base use case, we are assuming an underlying US Treasury transaction could be an outright cash buy, sell of a bond, or a US Treasury repo transaction is executed through regular way channels outside of the RSN FMI. Once executed, details in the transaction are submitted through the RSN FMI within each of the executing bank partitions, including with a DVP settlement of tokenized treasuries versus tokenized deposits. As I mentioned, one of the first and primary benefits is near real-time settlement of a DVP transaction. Delivery versus payment in this context is generally detached from the execution of the underlying transaction in real-world flow. The delay creates intraday liquidity issues. Additionally, the uncertainty around settlement timing shortens the time frame in which settlement discrepancies are identified and resolved, an issue inherent in the use of today's existing settlement architectures. By leveraging an FMI capable of settling DVP transactions, you can validate cash and securities positions near real time, smoothing out the market's ability to settle large amounts of transactions in shortened timeframes. Another benefit is the potential for expanded liquidity access. Reducing uncertainty, even in settlement flows, ultimately promotes liquidity. In terms of the price, cost of that liquidity, the provisioning by market participants of it, as well as when that liquidity is available to the market. With that, I'll hand it over to Jack.
Hi, everybody. Jack Puderoyan at SWFT, focused on our digital assets and digital currencies. Like the comments from others, we at SWFT are excited to participate in the continued industry collaboration and explore.
So SWFT, understand that SWFT is working with Chainlink, okay? And everyone was kind of making it as though SWFT was being replaced. Nah, they're not being replaced. They're being enhanced, and they're going to work with all of this stuff. So it's not a replacement for SWFT. It's a working with SWFT, and everyone continues to characterize it as though it's being replaced. And I think that's because, well, I'm not going to speculate, but the more that I feel like dis-ease or disorganization is caused, the more like people are confused. But and that just goes to the benefit of people who don't want people to find out about this or to invest in this or to choose. But if you really truly look at it, SWFT is working with Chainlink, and they're going to be a part of this new system. Okay, just bottom line. One thing to note here, we have ISO 2002 here. So integrates with SWFT's network capabilities and global standards to facilitate interoperability with existing financial systems. So here, an acknowledgement by SWFT of this new ISO standard, which all these cryptocurrencies, all these different cryptocurrencies, not every one of them, but cryptocurrencies which we talked about, like Stellar, like XRP, like XDC, like Algorand, conform to. So look at that, right? Look at that. So yeah, but keep in mind with everything they're talking about with the SWFT connector and all of this, Chainlink is a part of this, and I don't know if I got that. Okay, yeah, I didn't pull up that document where I had that available, but yeah, understand that Chainlink is a part of this whole designation. Let's continue to play here.
Or the multi-asset use cases for shared ledger technology. In addition to transactions taking place within the RSN, equally as a group, we felt it important to simulate transactions.
And again, one of the things to keep emphasizing is interoperability, interoperability, interoperability. What did we just see with that, right? XLR, right? Quant, XDC, right? Let me see if I can pull up that document that I wanted to pull up right quick, or maybe we can just find it right quick. Swift connector Chainlink. Here we go. That seems about as good as any right here. Swift unlocks the potential of tokenization. Again, tokenization, right? With successful blockchain experiments. Okay. And this is also the game that they play. They separate blockchain from cryptocurrency. But same thing, really. People will say that they're not, but whatever. This is the majority of the public thinks that cryptocurrency and blockchain are the same thing. So, but they'll say, "Oh, we work with blockchain. Chainlink is blockchain. You know, Bitcoin is blockchain. Ethereum is blockchain." But let's just stop it. We don't fool with that crypto. We're working with more than a dozen major financial institutions and financial infrastructures. And Chainlink, a leading Web3 services platform. It's funny that's how they describe Chainlink. Swift has successfully demonstrated that it can provide a single point of access to multiple networks using existing secure infrastructure, thereby significantly reducing operational challenges and investment required for institutions to support the development of tokenized assets. So again, Chainlink is also one of those to think of when we're thinking about interoperability. Let's see how we're doing here. And we went over our hour mark, but that's okay. We're good. We're good. We'll just keep going. We'll keep going. Okay, let's continue here. So to add richness to the regulated settlement network proof of concept scope, which also includes demonstrating interoperability, right? Which this whole sector of interoperability is definitely going to be a big one when it's concerning this crypto bull run. So definitely look at things that make things interoperable. So also includes demonstrating interoperability to multiple third-party regulated asset and cash networks. While the hypothetical benefits of a single multi-asset network are compelling, it is not practical to assume that the RSN would work in isolation.
Between the RSN and other third-party networks, or simply put, adding interoperability to the scope of the POC. While the theoretical benefits of having all parties and assets on a common ledger are substantial, in practice, we can also recognize that the reality of achieving the scenario is far more complex. And the group's working assumption is that there will continue to be a multitude of separate networks that will need to interoperate across the world. So by including interoperability in the POC scope, we note 3 key objectives. The first is to demonstrate the ability for the RSN to connect to both new and traditional financial networks, and thereby avoiding the creation of a new, larger digital island. Second is the ability.
So again, That was very important. Ensure connectivity to the existing system, and the new one, so that crypto doesn't become a digital island.
To test and compare intra-network transactions, for example, entirely within the RSN with asset and cash on the same ledger, and similar cross-network transactions to enable a form of A/B testing. And the third is to demonstrate the potential value of the RSN as a settlement venue for other networks to have final settlement of transactions in central bank money, which then brings us to the approach that we're taking. So as we know, there are different approaches and models to interoperability. For the scope of the regulated settlement network POC, we've elected to primarily leverage a network interlinking prototype that has been developed by SWFT. So in simple terms, that combines a lightweight interface component referred to here in the materials as the SWFT connector, along with orchestration capabilities from a simulated version of SWFT Transaction Manager platform to orchestrate the cross-network transactions. What this will enable is a secure, standardized, and scalable means of interlinking different types of networks. It remains technology and network type agnostic. It'll leverage the ISO 20022 standard that the industry has been working towards. And through local configuration by respective network operators, it'll mitigate any sort of interdependencies that people have on other network design decisions. It's worth noting that this prototype has also recently been tested with over 35 central banks, commercial banks, and financial market infrastructures in separate industry experimentation led by SWFT. And finally, in addition to the SWFT interlinking solution, throughout the POC, the group may explore additional integration options to demonstrate the flexibility of the RSN and to also be able to compare multiple types of options side by side. For example, we could envision direct connectivity to the RSN through API solution. This leads us to the interoperability use cases that we'll focus on in the scope of this POC, and I'll hand it over to Rishi from Wells Fargo.
So they've already tested it with 35 banks. Crazy. Okay, so it's only a matter of time before we see this affecting price in our cryptocurrencies, right? It's right here.
Thank you, Jack. Good morning, everyone. My name is Arushi Sue Joshi, and I head the Distributed Ledger Technology and Digital Assets Center of Excellence at Wells Fargo. My peers have already established that interoperability is crucial for scale and value. We know that cash and other assets will continue to exist on other networks other than RSN. And in order to provide true value to our clients, we must communicate and interoperate with these networks. The promise of tokenization of securities is access to liquidity, 24/7 network availability, near real-time settlement, and of course, reduction of operational risk regardless of the network.
So basically, she just broke it down like, okay, yeah, we know cash and stuff will continue to exist, but we're going to connect it to this other network, and all these networks need to be interoperable so that we can have 24/7 network availability to liquidity, right? So now if a bank in like what you want to call it, it's closed and they can't really, they can't clear the money, you don't have to wait a day or two or whatever. It's 24/7. No matter where you're at, network is on, available, and accessible. Okay. So yeah. And obviously you can see the benefits to that, right? Everything gets done way quicker, right?
Therefore, interoperability, improving interoperability is an important goal of this experiment of phase 2 of the RSN. We're going to demonstrate our hypothesis of interoperability using an illustrative example. I'm not going to drain the slide, but I'm going to help you try and visualize how interoperability might look like if you had assets or securities on a network other than RSN. So if you look at the visual, and if you've been tracking phase 1 of RLN or RSN, you'll see that the top portion, which has the FMI, is essentially the same. But you have an additional network here, which is, in this illustrative example, Broadridge DLR. There could be other asset networks as well. And our goal is to demonstrate interoperability using the SWFT connector. So in this particular illustrative example, we've got a client X, who banks with Bank A, who wants to purchase securities from client Y, who banks with Bank B. The cash or tokenized deposits, as well as the tokenized central bank monies, are on the RSN FMI. However, the securities in this case are on the Broadridge network. And so in this transaction, quite simply, Bank A proposes a transaction to the RSN network. And in order for this transaction to be committed, several people need to sign off on this transaction. So when the transaction is proposed by Bank A on behalf of its clients, it's letting Bank B know that it has the money to pay for the securities. Bank B then confirms that it is accepting the transaction And in the Fed partition, you've got the reserves being transferred from bank A to bank B. At the same time, the transaction, when it is proposed, has to be signed off or confirmed in the Broadridge network to confirm that bank B does have the securities, and those securities are going to be locked for this transaction. And this communication between the RSN FMI and the Broadridge DLR or any other asset network is happening through the SWIFT connector. And using this sort of interoperability infrastructure.
So not the best diagram, but basically cross-network finality of settlement is what she's showing you. Like, it's not the way I would have drawn it, but there it is. Just basically, okay, Bank A needs some securities from Bank B, and it's over on the Broadridge network. We're going to go through the SWIFT connector to get it, and that's going to settle it. Pretty much, right?
It is our goal and hope that we can demonstrate that the RSN FMI can operate with various other networks in securities, but also in cash. And I will hand it over to Jonathan to talk about the second use case where.
So increase access to additional types of securities or commodities, right? Which would be cryptocurrency or tokenized assets, which is, NFTs. There we go.
Where cash networks might exist. So Jonathan, over to you.
Thank you, Arushi. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Donovan, part of Mastercard's digital asset and blockchain team. In addition to the multi-asset use cases that have been described earlier, we're keen to demonstrate the value that can be provided by RSN acting as a foundational settlement infrastructure for third-party platforms in the PVP scenario. In this model, the tokenized central bank money that resides on RSN can be used to safely and securely settle obligations that arise from a variety of activities occurring on platforms that are distinct and separate from RSN. This means that these third-party platforms would be able to utilize tokenized central bank money for settlement on a 24/7 basis, allowing participants to make use of the liquidity they have available in RSN to support additional use cases that bring value to their customers. The specific use cases that we are exploring are via two different third-party platforms that provide tokenized deposit capabilities. The first is Mastercard's multi-token network, MTN. This is a platform that provides a set of tools and standards to enable participants to transact in the digital asset space with a balance in their bank accounts. These capabilities enable application providers in verticals such as real estate, loan disbursement, and carbon credits to leverage the power of tokenized deposits. In this use case, we'll demonstrate
carbon credits. He talks about carbon credits. We've seen this with energy web token and different things like that, right? Where they're tokenizing energy and they're using carbon credits sort of as a derivative of energy or energy use, right? So essentially awarding people or disawarding or not awarding people for their energy usage. So now people, if they haven't used a certain amount of energy or they have access to another amount of energy or natural resources, they can turn those into carbon credits, which they can then sell. I believe Tesla does this at the moment with certain things that they get advantages for their solar company and their electrical vehicle company. So this is making it global. And in a certain sense, I hope it's not global to the point where it's like, okay, you got people counting how far or how much they use their cars and they got to buy more carbon credits just to take a vacation. I hope it doesn't get to that level. But as an investor, right, we can look at things like Energy Web Token because they are going to tokenize these credits, these carbon credits. So that's what we can take away from that as an investor, right?
Demonstrate how B2B transactions enabled in MTN can be settled directly on RSN 24/7 in central bank money. The second use case is with Tacit as a third-party platform provider and demonstrates how the value of a tokenized deposit on the Tacit platform can interoperate with the tokenized deposit petitions on the RSN ledger itself. Again, further demonstrating how two different types of payments can interact seamlessly. Both of these use cases will explore different ways in which they can securely interoperate with RSN. Firstly, via the SWIFT connector that Jack described earlier, and also via a direct connection to RSN. In summary, this demonstrates how RSN can act as a foundational layer that can underpin a huge amount of future innovation by becoming a substrate that other services can build upon, bringing additional capabilities and use cases into the financial ecosystem. And with that, I'd like to hand back to Charles.
Okay, so we made it through the entire video. Like, there's so much that you can point out from that video. There's so many more connections that can be made. We just kind of went over it kind of from the top view, right? But think of all the different things that we just mentioned. We mentioned Quant, we mentioned XLR, we mentioned XDC, we mentioned SWIFT, we mentioned central banks, we mentioned the Bank of International Settlement, we mentioned SWIFT, we mentioned Chainlink. Gosh, just so much juiciness, right? Let's go ahead and look at the comments here, and then we'll wrap it up here. Let's go. Made it to the live. Appreciate you, Jay Share 2.0. What's up, brother? Living in Central Florida. Smash the like button. I wonder if Swift is a 5 or 10 year hold, or will it grow during this bull run? I think it will grow during the bull run. Drew coming in with those undisclosed videos. You're the man. Appreciate you, brother. And shout out to Maximus for this video. Maximus, I don't know where Maximus Crypto got this video from, but shout out to him for this video, okay? And definitely go over and check out my man Maximus Crypto. We'll showcase him right here for sure. Love Max's videos. Maximus Crypto should go to his channel. There we go. Seems like some people are already biting on him since he's like the sixth thing down. But yeah, definitely go check out Max's channel. Definitely appreciate Max around here. And I do a show with him on his channel like every 2 weeks. Gotta love that. Appreciate Max around here. So I just wanted to point him out. A lot of his videos are on Jasmine, but he also talks quant as well. So definitely check out my guy, Max. And here you guys want an XDC. Love those thumbnails. They get even better. But yeah, definitely check out my guy, Max there. Stablecoins can be backed by electricity, 100% G. Gets into what we were talking about with Energy Web Token. And then the whole carbon credit thing, right? What's up, DJ Got Bands? I don't know if I've seen you around here before, but appreciate you, brother. We're walking with Rue. Thank you for all you do. You can break it down, brother. I appreciate that. Oi, live from the DMV area. What is up? Boom. Appreciate you. What's up, brother Richard Judge? Been following me since the Benzinga days. God bless you, brother, as well. God bless you, brother. Riviera Group, long time watcher since the Benzinga days as well. Long time Patreon. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you being in the house. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, definitely like the video, guys. It really helps. Thank you, Shook Focus Digital, for sharing, brother. Sharing the X. We got 130 members, 81 on X. Got to love that. 81 on X. Definitely, if you're over on X, consider to subscribe or follow me on X. We're trying to grow that crowd over there, and we're trying to put more content exclusively on X. So definitely give me a follow over there if you haven't already. There we go. Shook Focus Digital. Appreciate it. Yeah, Scary Gary over here. Like, oh my God. Well, Gary. Holy. I can't with that, bro. Like, oh my goodness. It's a little bit of theater, guys. A little bit of theater, guys. Gotta keep people on their toes. Like, I don't know I don't know. I guess I'll go over here to stocks where it's more safe, but way less more room for growth. In my opinion, not financial advice. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I want to be yours. Do your own research. Personally, what I'm doing in my portfolio, I think there's a lot more growth in the cryptocurrency market. I do own cryptocurrency stocks, like I've told you guys with CleanSpark. Made a killing on CleanSpark. Love CleanSpark for the future as well. But yeah, we made a killing on CleanSpark. CLSK. Okay. For those who want to look it up. We were in that at the $1.77. I think it's something like $14 now. Gotta love CleanSpark. XLR price prediction. I think Ando has some big potential. Both of those have potential for real world assets, but XLR, as far as like interoperability goes, I definitely think we see that maybe towards the $7 area. I think it already went up to like 60, 250 already, and it's down. It was at like 44 cents here. Shout out to the Patreon, right? This is one of the ones I mentioned on the Patreon. So shout out to your patrons, okay? You guys make the show work. Okay, it dove down here to around like 44 cents, 47 cents. Picked back up to 65. But earlier this year, okay, this is not the best chart. What would be a better chart? Oh, did it just get listed on Binance? Okay, where's KuCoin? That's what I want to look for, because I know it's been on KuCoin for a while. Okay, I'm not getting the best chart here with this. XLR. Can I say KuCoin? There we go. No, nope, that's not right either. But XLR USDC. I don't know why it's giving me all these whack charts, guys. Okay, well, if you look at the Coinbase chart, which I don't know why it's not giving me that. It's giving me, okay, there we go. Okay, there we are. So yeah, so it went up as high as 250, 270, 260, right? Like I was saying. So definitely getting at a bargain here is 65 cents. I think the next kind of run back up, we see this maybe in the $5, $6, $7 rank. And why do I say that? Let's look at the coin Near, all right, which I've seen a lot of Draper VCs on Near. So Near started where it was like 74 something cents, went up to like $4 something or $2 something. Then we got all the way back down to the 2 area, up to like $8. So I could see something similar happening with the XLR. Let's kind of look and see if we can find the tokenomics on these guys, because especially if they're around the same amount of tokens, I think we can see something like that eventually in XLR's future. Take a look, shall we? XLR. Let's close a couple things down as well. Okay. Okay, XLR token supply. Okay, they say it's infinite. Don't like that. But at the moment, it's 1.15 billion. Don't see here. Yeah, Near has it too. The infinite supply deal, 1.18. So I think Near is actually a pretty good example of where we could see XLR in the future. Okay. So that's my basis for that. Theater of the Absurd. Yo, what's up? Appreciate the live stream. I was thinking real world assets would be like 50 people owning fractional pieces of a house, and when it sells, they all get a portion. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. I think it's kind of like the fractional reserve bank, right? And that gets into the history of money, which we need to break down. But I'll give you guys a quick synopsis of the history of money. So the Templars created money. What happened is like way back in the day. So they say with history, right? Is when people had horse and carriage and they were going from city to city and going to one city to the other one, you wouldn't want to carry your gold with you, right? So instead, what they figured out is they could go take it to the Templars. The Templars would give them this little check. They called it a check, but what you can really think of it as is kind of money, and it's basically like an IOU. So what the Templars said is, okay, you leave us your gold, we'll give you this check. You can, when you get to the next town, you go to our Templar bank over there, and they will redeem this check just like it's gold. So if you had 10 pieces of gold, you go over to the other side with your check, they'll give you the 10 pieces of gold. Okay. That way you're safe. If someone tries to attack you out there, they won't have your gold. They won't get your gold. Instead, your gold will be protected. You can just bring that check back and get your gold. They figured out was only 30% of people ever came back for their gold for whatever reason. Who knows why that reason is? They got attacked. They were unalived, whatever. So since only 30 people came back for their gold, you can kind of figure out from the math there how lucrative and advantageful, how great that was for the Templars, right? But then they also, on top of that, figured out fractional reserving. Like, okay, well, if only 30 people come back for it, well, we could loan out 70% if we wanted to, because we keep 30 in case they come back, and we can make loans for the 70%, and thus fractional reserve banking was if you listen to history, that's how it was created by the Templars. So fractional reserve was really kind of to the advantage of the bank, but this also could be to the advantage of the bank if people default, right? But yeah. But also you have things like timeshares, right? Where you fractionalize owning a house that kind of exists already. And, some questions on whether that works well or not, But yeah. So they will tokenize every asset that the DCC is in control of. Well, the DCC controls every tokenized asset right now. Like they control stocks. Like stocks originally, they used to come with their certificate. Like how we were just talking about checks, right? From the Templars. The DTCC holds every it holds those certificates. So yeah, they will tokenize every asset, and probably the DCC will hold the check or the writ for that tokenization. What's your price prediction for the people bull run for SWFT? Matt Curino, what's up? I really hate to do predictions. I just do targets. My own target, my personal target, is 33 cents. And I've told people that before based on Harmony 1. If you look at Harmony 1 and what it did in the last bull run, it's very, you can offer parallels to Swift in that way with Harmony. They're close in what their prices were and what their supply is. Swift is 10 billion. Harmony 1 is 13 billion. But if you look at the last bull run, it was under a cent, and then it moved to boom, bull shot up to 15. And this was still in 2021. Last bull run, right? Then boom, shot up to like 34 cents. So I think Swift will do something like this. So last bull run, this was in 2021. So 4 years later, another Bitcoin halving. I'm expecting something like this in 2025 or earlier for Swift. I feel sorry for those who are asleep on this stuff. Me too, man. I really do. But you can only change those who want to be changed, man. Or only those who want to look at it, I guess, is the ones who gonna be benefiting. It's sad, but that's just what it is, man. SwiftC all change bridge looks incredibly important. Yes, indeed it does. Probably get into that more later at some point. Selfless Vendors LLC. It feels good knowing my money is tied into these same projects as these billionaire VCs. Incoming Roy pull denied. 100%. 100%. Why did you leave out XRP? I mean, I didn't leave them out. I just kind of forgot them. I wasn't purpose. Let me put it this way. I wasn't purposely leaving out XRP, but yeah, XRP is definitely there. Yeah, you know what? I know what you're talking about now, D Benders one, because I went and I looked at the digital pound project. I did not mention Ripple. I don't know how that happened, bro. To be honest with you, I don't know how that happened. But yeah, Ripple. Yeah, they're also part of the digital pound project. I think I said them. I think I did. I really think I did. But I didn't talk about them as much as I did anyone else. You're right about that. But yeah, I'm Ripple too. And Ripple, when you bring in Ripple, you think about how they're like they can be used to have your own central bank currency. They're sort of a settlement layer for CBDCs. So that's a whole even another can of worms, right? But yeah, XRP as well. What's up, David Middleton? Balaclava Man. Oh, I hate when it does this junk. There we go. Oh, I hate this new interface. It's so much worse than the one they had. Like they always try to fix things and they make it worse. It's terrible. Here we go again. What's up, Belkava, man? 100% said the Templars created currency, not money. Quantitative thinking. I don't know. I don't know how you're saying the difference there, because eventually the Ritz people use them as though they were money, instead of trading the gold with each other. They would just be swapping the Ritz. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can let me know. Maybe you're looking at it as a different aspect. But yeah, please, let me know what you're saying there, because eventually, what those Ritz ended up being was money. People just decided to trust the bank with the gold and just trade the Ritz, the checks, as though they were, just as good as gold. So eventually that did lead into money, quote unquote money. But yeah, maybe I'm missing something there, but please let me know if I am. I don't want to mischaracterize anything. What a great opportunity we received on the 4th of July. Hope we get some more of these fire sales soon. 100% G. I agree. Theater of the absurd. So see, we got some people who are who understand what's going on in here, because we have people mentioning the Templar. Theater of the absurd. Templar created banks, which in essence is money, because the banks can create money with loans. Exactly the point there. Yeah, so ultimately it was from those guys, because then people got happy, or instead of doing like how would you say, like skill trades, they're saying like, I give you 5 fur pelts and you like fix my house or something like that, or I fix your house and then you'll fix my wagon. Like people just started using the Ritz and trading the Ritz around. And then coinage came and all of that other stuff. Like this is way deeper than like I said, I need to make a whole history of money just like show, right? But ultimately it was from those guys. But I'm interested to see what quantitative tightening has to say. Yeah. But yeah, like, so it originally came for those guys, which like the only the creator creates money, but you can have a great definition of currency. Okay, gotcha. And this is a way deeper conversation. Like now to separate, okay, the creator and then what is money and what is currency. This is a way deeper conversation than I think I'm prepared to have in this conversation right now. But yes, what quantitative tightening is saying is true, but we have to get into way deeper concepts to talk about that. But in essence, the Templars did create what we call money. But what we call money, since it has no backing, which quantitative tightening is talking about, our money has no backing. It's just an IOU. But that's getting way deeper than what we can go into today. So thank you, brother. I see what you're saying now. But just one thing I'd like to leave you guys with. The Templars, their flag was red and white. If you look at the Swiss flag, flag of Switzerland. You know, just you know, if you've watched movies, you've seen the Templar flag before, the red claw, the red cross, and the white, you know, flag. Flag of Switzerland is just kind of that inverted a little bit, you know. So I don't know what that's just a pattern I noticed, and you know, take from that what you will. But yeah, that's it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Really interesting. And considering that most banks kind of originate from Switzerland, that's something to ponder. That's something to ponder. But yeah, yeah. So we should have at one point, maybe we should have a deeper conversation about what money is and what currency is. But we'll leave it there for today. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Please like and subscribe. If you're on X, please like and subscribe, or you know, follow me. I'm trying to grow my X platform. Please leave a comment on the video if you want to have more conversations about what is money, what is currency, and have more of these conversations about kind of like history, if you will. Let me know. Maybe I'll start another channel where we have deeper conversations like this. It's very interesting. Like, I think you need to understand these conversations when you're hearing these people in these banks talk about different things. And it kind of it really clarifies your mind, you know. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Any type of things, like should I start a second channel for stuff like that, history or stuff, if you will, talking about some of the deeper topics. Yeah, but have a nice Saturday, y'all. I appreciate everybody who came through. Have a good one. Peace.